Greetings, Macadine family and listening audience. I am Kamil Shabazz of Macadine University. Hoping all is well with you, your family, your finances, etc. Once again, welcome to Macadine University. And I want to go into a continuation somewhat of yesterday's subject with an extra twist, with some connective tissue, so to speak. Because yesterday I was talking about the deaths of 3 black men, actually 4 black men when it was all said and done, because they all were those 4 sacrificial lambs of the book of Numbers. Specifically, Malcolm and our brother Mark Clark, the one murdered in the morning and the other one murdered in the evening, fulfilling what they said in Numbers 28. So as I was saying about that age that they died at, being 39. Let's see if I can get some brothers in here. Pardon me 1 second. So that age 39, you know, we're going to go into, let me see, 1 second. Tag some of these soldiers in here. I'm going to tag some of these soldiers. Definitely my brother here. So, I'm going to leave it at that for now. That age 39 in esoteric language is real significant. Because when you add 3 and 9 together, you get 12. And if you go, you Bible thumpers, if you go to your Bible where it talks about Jesus, your icon, teaching at 12 years old, that's saying a lot, because esoterically, we're dealing with 39. We're dealing with a certain level of understanding, because at 12 years, he was teaching the rabbis. All this is dealing with symbolism. So, as I was telling you, Malcolm, Martin, and A.D. King, Martin's militant brother, who was killed 15 months and 17 days after King, which is that 6 and 8 that I was talking about. All 3 of them died before 40 years old for a reason. Because when you're dealing with that 40, you know, that's another esoteric number that deals with growth and deals with going to the next level. Like you have the 40 days and the 40 nights and all these different symbols of Moses fasting for 40 days, Jesus fasting for 40 days. This is all symbolism dealing with man's development, coming out of that 6 and into the 8, as I've been teaching you about. So when you get to 40 years old, a change for the usual normal man takes place, where you start to perceive life and see things differently. However, in this day and age, that part of man has been cut off, so to speak, which is why you got so many men acting either like immature boys or adolescent girls. So 40, they even say that Muhammad, the Arabian prophet, got his revelation at 40 years old, if he in fact existed. Because I find it funny that all the so-called prophets of those Bibles and Qurans, none of their graves has ever been found. But you can go to Kemet and find all the fossils of the great pharaohs of the past. But you can't find Peter, Paul, none of the so-called disciples Can't find the body of Jesus. The Christian's excuse is that he rose up. But I would have thought by now that NASA would have saw him if he rose up and was floating in some cloud somewhere. But that's another subject. So 40. 40 represents 5 times 8. 5 times 8. And when you're dealing with 5 times 8, when you're dealing with 5 in the esoteric, you're dealing with the physical. You're dealing with that 6 I was talking about. Because you're dealing with the 5 senses. And for you Bible thumpers, if you go to the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 17, that 1 and 7 is an 8. And you have this David and Goliath story. And ironically, Goliath has 6 hands and 6 fingers. 6 fingers and 6 toes on each extremity, which equals 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So Goliath represents you being stuck on 6. And the 5 senses is another way of saying 6. Because you're stuck on the physical. And that's why David had 5 smooth stones, because it's dealing with the 5 senses. So he had to kill that Goliath with one of those stones. About to die. Hold on. Trying to cut a brother off. 1 second. So yeah, hopefully I can balance this shit up without it falling, man. This is crazy. 1 second, 1 second. Hopefully we'll make it. It's not gonna stop nothing. We'll work it out. I'll make it quick. So we're talking about this David and Goliath, and the Goliath is that enemy within us, the devil within, that we got to overcome. You know, but going back to that 40, you know, that 5 and that 8 relationship. You know, that 17th chapter of Samuel has 58 verses, because you're dealing with that 5 and 8, or that 6 and 8, the physical, the sensual, and the infinite, which deals with our infinite mind. So going back to 40, 40 represents cosmic balance or cosmic health. And when those brothers was on their way into 40 years old, they had to get cut down before they opened all the way up, because Malcolm had started going, you know, he was on his way to the world court. He was no longer limited to that little box called the Nation of Islam. He was now on his way to the world court to put the plight of the black man and woman in prague, in the highest court in the world. So him, King, who got the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, they had got too big. So when you hit 40 and you're a light worker, eventually those lights are going to come all the way on. Because like I said, Malcolm's war wasn't over, because he had to go to war with those racist Arabs. And then eventually he would have ended up where we're at today in the Magadim, refuting all that bullshit and recognizing that man is God. God over all gods, and that the original man is actually the one who has been worshipped all the time. But that's another subject. So Goliath within you has to be destroyed by you via one of the smooth stones. And one of those smooth stones, the one that is of most necessary need and use, is meditation. Simple as that. Meditation is our medication, whether you acknowledge that or not. It's hard to do, it's boring, etc. But it's the only way that you're going to contact that infinite mind, aka the king's chamber in the pyramid, that is within you and I, once again referred to as the pineal gland. So they recognize this in government, which is why you can run for president at 35 years old, which is an 8, because you got 5 more years to 40. See? It's all dealing with mathematics. And 40 is 5 times 8. I mean, pardon me, 4 times 8. So you're dealing with this relationship with the 5 and the 8s all the way throughout our development. So they allow you to be or run for president at that age because by that time you should be more balanced. You know, you should be at that 35 to 40 years old, you should be able to have your sexuality and your lust in order and be on an even keel at this point, which unfortunately is not the case in most of the world, especially in America, because you know how the politicians go out here, from Marion Barry all the way to Bill Clinton, I mean, who's the same as George Clinton. There's no big difference. So they cut down our brothers before they reach 40. And I was telling you about that 28 being the number used against the black man. And if you times 5 times 28, you get 140. See, that 40. They don't want any man, any light worker to get over 40. Because you start to magnetize. And you start to evolve at a greater rate. And you become dangerous, especially if you have time to think. Because a thinker is the most dangerous man on the planet. That's why they keep you working a job and keeping you working overtime and keeping you chasing the bag so that you won't reach for the gold within yourself. So that 40, they got cut down before 40. And as I was telling you yesterday about that 6 and 8 relationship and how you got to be on the right side of the fence. You know, I saw an old sister, actually a manager on these grounds. Older sister, beautiful woman. But on this side and on that side. And did some things to people during these hard times when people are living under bridges. And I rode through the driveway yesterday. Somebody had busted her whole back window out. This is like a 70-year-old woman. But it goes deeper than that. Because the universe, I don't care what color, size, age you are. Karma is coming instantaneous today. So it'd be wise for you to do as ayahuasca told me, and that is deal with clean hands. Deal with clean hands. Find your purpose. But I'm not going to veer off of what I was about to get into deeper. We're dealing with this 6 and the 8 and how Malcolm and Mike Tyson and the brothers that I was talking about yesterday, Mark Clark, were mentioned in this world review of events that took place over the last 1,000 years. That only 3 black men was mentioned in worldwide for 1,000+ years. So if y'all get a chance, look at that video yesterday because it was too deep for me to even go over it again. So the way to overcome all these enemies that's in your midst, everybody that's trying to do right, I'm talking to you. Everyone all the brothers that want to be good fathers, first and foremost. Good fathers. Good citizens. I know I probably sound like a corny old man, OG, huh? But shit is simple, man. You know, we all got to go back to the fundamentals. There was a book years ago, and I think it's still available on Amazon, that you were taught, it says, what you learned, or something to the effect, everything you learned in kindergarten. Because the basic things we learn, like sharing and just being cordial, are the basic building blocks of civilization. And most human beings have lost just those basic tools of civility. Real talk. The average man and woman in a marriage that's living together only talks or conversates 15 minutes a week. Picture that. See, COVID revealed to the world the true state and condition of the relationships in America. Because soon couples had to get locked in, what happened? Domestic violence went up 150%. Because it revealed the fact that the people that are living together, that went down the aisle together, really don't love each other. And really didn't know each other. Because 9 times out of 10, we got into the bed before we got into the head. Now I'm talking to you tonight. I'm talking to you tonight. Because I wanted to talk about this on YouTube. But I guess it's meant for me to talk about it now. How all these content creators and these PUAs who are teaching these youngsters to go out here and be pimps and players. Pumper and dumpers. You know? If my brother Malik listening, if anybody knows about pumping and dumping, we were the pumping and dumping crew back in the day. But that's another subject. But the point I'm making is that the flip side of pump and dump is never talked about. And for those of you brothers who have had a lot of women, had a lot of experience, you know what I'm talking about. Because how many times have you pumped and regretted that you dumped? Huh? How many times have you pumped and regretted? No, how many have you pumped and regretted that you didn't dump before you pumped? Oh man. But what I'm saying is those one night stands can end up being a lifetime of problems. And those of you who looked at that movie, How to Be a Player, when Della Reese said that to Martin Lawrence, it was a joke, but that was a real damn jewel that she dropped on Martin. Because I see OGs till this day still making those same mistakes. Same mistakes. 1 second. So I'm going to get back. I don't want to veer too off. I want to get back into the 8 because it's all about the 8. And the 8th chapter of the Macadine book is entitled Love. And that's the main way and the only way you're going to activate that God of self, that G-O-G of self, the God of gods that's within you. There ain't no God higher than you. Even Allah, Yahweh, and Jah, we created those things. We created them. If you don't want to take your title as G-O-G, that's up to you. The universe is going to give you just what you declare and present to it. Get on the damn line, man. That's what you do. So to activate that 8, you got to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because man is the missing 8. We're the missing infinity chain to everything else. As you have 88 constellations in our galaxy. We're that third 8. You know, and until we connect with that infinite mind that I've been teaching about, you're going to remain on 6. Count the number of the beast because it's a number of a man, 666. That Goliath of yourself that you got to kill. And the only way you're going to kill it is to free yourself from these negative ass ninjas in your midst. And destroy and alienate them demons in your brain called thoughts. Huh? You gotta eliminate. You gotta control your thoughts, man. That's why I have Thoth on my shirt, because it's all about thought. Thought is responsible for everything, and it's the ancestor of everything around you. Thought. If you don't control your thought, you are a slave. And it's up to you to free yourself from Egypt, which means land of bondage, and you're in bondage once again in the brain. So what we're dealing with, once again, got to get into that mind state of the 8. We're in the era, the age of Aquarius, and everybody who's not on the right side is going to be going to the wayside. I don't care if it's your mama, sister, or brother, anybody you love, it doesn't matter. They're not on the right side. They're going to get taken down today. Simple as that. So I just wanted to share that with you, because those of you who are around 40 years old, you need to really go somewhere and sit down. Get out the motherfuckers, get out the clubs. You know, stop messing with these scandalous skanks who are giving you diseases, both of the mind and the body. You'd be surprised how many old brothers that I counsel who are out here still getting burned, still getting venereal disease at 55 and 60 years old. Because once again, they have no discipline. The hell with discipline, you need discipline. Get a mastery, get a grip on your ding-a-ling, man. Simple as that. See, you never had a man, a father, an uncle talk to you real. And that's why most men are running around here like bitches. Like females. Similac babies. So, on that note, I'm going to get off here and get ready to do my sun gazing, reconnecting to my source. Peace, blessings, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Get your copy, your mighty copy of the Macadine, the book that's so in line with the time and everything else. Get this book. It will change your life. I promise you. Salute.